Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 21st of October. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, a big weekend in Melbourne, but a bigger weekend this coming weekend. The monster, the mother of all weekends approaching with in excess of 1,500 auctions this weekend, Gary. That's an all-time record for Melbourne real estate.
And we've got,
what have you got to say about that, Mr. Peer?
I've got to say it's very exciting. We think we've got about 25 this weekend.
25, wow.
So looking forward to that, Phil, and lots of quality offerings, I might say.
And the viewers are probably now thinking, gee, they've skipped from the weekend that was to the weekend that's coming on very quickly.
Yes.
And the viewers are probably thinking, have the boys had a bit of a tough weekend and they're trying not to talk about it? Very astute viewers that we have, Gary.
We had our bitching and boasting episode last week. I think this week we'll just be bitching.
Are we going to confess all and say that we didn't quite make the industry average this weekend, last weekend?
No, we're not going to say that, Philip.
Okay.
Let's just run through the results. There'll be no towers and none of that sort of talk. But Philip, I think we should review the auctions.
We did get a pass. We did sell more than 50% of the stock last weekend.
It's not a disgrace.
Okay, so coming clean, the industry did 74% clearance rate last weekend. We dropped to a all-time low for us of 60%. Having said that, that was 6 out of 10, and we have got 4 fabulous properties that
Opportunities,
I think are well priced now and won't take us long to sell.
Phil, one of those properties is in Begonia Road in Elswick. This is a fabulous property. The reserve is $699. That is for a 3-bedroom, one of 2 villas, Philip. With it's kind of got its own frontage. It's an interesting property, and that's available now. Phil, you did have a good auction in Inkerman Street, 2 at 290A Inkerman Street.
I did. What a thumping result that was.
That was a
and
beauty.
sets a new price record, I think, for a 2-bedroom apartment with a courtyard garden. Is the price disclosed, Gary?
It is, Philip. It sold for $754,000.
And that was an apartment that I thought had strong value in the mid-6s.
Reserve was around 7 and possibly looked like an ambitious reserve.
Yeah, well, I thought when they gave us the reserve, I thought it was too high, but we smashed it and sold it for $745. So that really does go to show how strong the East St Kilda market is, Gary.
While you were smashing in East St Kilda, Philip, I was having a smashing time in Caulfield South in Bamber Road. A brick pair, Philip. The reserve was $1,100,000, which just so happened to be the first bid. So off we went, up and away.
Makes your job easy, doesn't
as
it?
the seekers would say. We sold it for $1,265,000, a very competitive auction.
Strong
Phil.
result. Great real estate though, wasn't it?
It is great real estate. We passed in a property in St Kilda Road, St Kilda, Philip. The reserve's $569. Get down and buy that one because it's still available. But Henryville Street, now that's an interesting story, Philip. We're not going to start bitching again because last week was the bitching episode.
But I don't think it should become a weekly thing where we bitch.
Can't bitch all the time.
No.
However, this property
The viewers watch this show because it's an upbeat, optimistic show, Gary.
It's
but
a cultural experience, isn't it?
Every now and then we do fall in a heap and just get in with the other negative people, the other pessimistic
Get in the gutter
people.
and
They try to
fight.
pull you down. That's why we started bitching last week. We're back up and no more bitching this week.
So this is a bit of a boast, Phil, because the highest
boasting
sale
I'm good with.
This sale in Henryville Street, and well done to Jeremy Rosens and crew. This one sold, I think the reserve was somewhere in the high 7s, which was the aspired price, because I believe this was passed in last year with another agent.
Yep.
Somewhere in that sort of level, even less, I think. Anyway, sold for $826,000.
Wow, great.
A delighted vendor that just shook their head and couldn't believe it.
Yep.
6 Lucas Street, Phil, was a good auction, competitive, had a lot of coverage, sold for $1,305,000.
And what a
well
great
done.
house. And interestingly, viewers, we held that auction inside for the very simple reason that whilst it had a really good looking facade, the main selling feature of that house was the kitchen meals family room.
You're so strategic, Philip.
And I brought everybody inside, even though it was a lovely day, we brought everybody inside because we wanted everybody during their bidding to focus on the major selling point.
Philip, Jeremy
Very
Rosen.
clever of me, I don't mind saying.
This is a clever edition, isn't it? Jeremy Rosens was clever in Avoca Street because he did in Elwood because he did what you couldn't, because you couldn't sell it a year ago or so.
Right.
But he sold it.
Thank you for that.
It's a pleasure. No, he had 4 bidders.
Much better market, of course.
A bit better market. He would say it's the auctioneer. But we would say it's the market.
Right.
And I'll just sit in the front and agree with both of you. But Philip, apartment 5 at 22 Avoca Avenue, Elwood, there was a very competitive auction. I did get along there, and well done to the buyers who secured that for $425,000. Philip, was passed in and sold immediately.
Strong price, because that's a company share apartment, and viewers might not know, but there are really, when we sell apartments, we have a strata title, we have a stratum title, and we have company share. And a company share basically means that you're buying shares in a company that own the real estate. So you're not actually getting your own title to that property, you're getting a share in title.
The master title.
And they're a bit more difficult to sell because the banks, as a generalisation, aren't as keen to lend as bullishly on company share apartments. Look out for those.
The clever and the educational episode, Philip. However, they have relaxed a lot of the lending criteria now.
They're still not as ready to lend as higher to loan to value ratio as they are on a strata title.
Philip, it didn't make any difference at 25A of Bundoora Road because that's not a company share property, but it didn't sell. We have reserved there of $1,045,000 and there was an opportunity.
That is priced to sell. We actually passed that property and I was negotiating with a couple after the auction who I think will come back in the next couple of days and buy it. Gary?
Somebody's knocking. Oh, it's opportunity, Phil. Well, opportunity knocks on that property.
Did you rehearse that?
No, I just thought of it. I'm very quick, Phil. Very witty. And don't say anything with wit in it that's insulting, Philip.
No, I won't.
Balaclava Road, we sold that property, faces Chattersley Avenue.
Yes.
Undisclosed, but what a hot auction.
Well, we had a lot of people there, Gary, and we had, I'm just trying to think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 bidders.
I think there were 6 bidders.
6 people bidding for that.
It was a hottie.
Hot property, great, beautifully presented by the vendors. So a special shout out to them for really giving us a job that was made easy by the level of presentation.
I don't mind saying, Philip, you were sparkling there.
I was sparkling. Oh, that's nice of you. Well, I had 4 espressos before that auction, so
well, that's what gets you sparkling. That's
exactly.
That's
caffeine will do it for you every time, and caffeine is my preferred drug of choice.
If that's
For those of you from the Federal Police that watch this show on a regular basis, caffeine is as hard as we get into.
Carlisle Street was hard because it didn't sell, but it's going to, Philip, because we've got a very realistic
development
reserve now.
site there, great opportunity.
2 houses on Carlisle Street development site for $2 million is too good to be true. Someone will buy it, Phil.
It is.
Now, before we get into this weekend's auctions, and we need to burn through them, let's just talk about where we are here, because Phil, this does go up for auction on Saturday in the calm of the afternoon at 4:30. We are in Glencairn Avenue in Brighton East.
And Gary, this is a favourite street of mine because it's brilliantly located with schools and shops and public transport and the golf course, just an 8-iron away. Is there such a thing as an 8-iron?
There is an 8-iron, and I reckon it would be an 8-iron.
Just an 8-iron swing from here.
The other side of the road.
This would have to be the prettiest house, Gary, the most beautiful floor plan.
And
Polished timber floorboards right throughout, and we're sitting in the kitchen meals area with the most beautiful view over that sunlit rear garden, Gary. This is a family package if ever there was. Brilliant street, fabulous suburb. Get on down Saturday afternoon at 4:30 because this is a beautiful home. The viewers might like to know that both you and I were flown to New Zealand to speak at a real estate conference last week.
Do you think anyone cares?
Well, no, there's a message here.
Okay.
So we were asked to speak in front of the managers conference for Barfoot and Thompson, who are the leading agency in Auckland with 67 offices and a 50% market share of
something
Auckland.
Outrageous and ridiculous.
Phenomenal. And it was a pleasure to be there. We learned a few things, and hopefully they learned a few things from us. But the thing that I was just blown away by, firstly, Auckland. If you haven't been to Auckland, what a beautiful city.
I couldn't believe
Some of the most gorgeous real estate.
It's the harbour city of New Zealand. It is magnificent.
Gary, it's a beautiful city, but I was just blown away with the standard of housing there. Just beautiful housing. But wait for this, viewers. In Auckland and New Zealand, in fact, there is no capital gains tax on the sale of real estate. Ka-ching, how good is that? But the best part, and I hope that Dennis Napthine, who is a regular watcher of GPTV,
he loves it.
And the opposition, Dan, I hope you're watching this, Dan Andrews, because we've got a message for you coming right at you. It's a first from GPTV in Auckland, New Zealand, with a very powerful economy, I don't mind
saying. And a great Prime Minister.
Has no capital gains tax and no stamp duty. No stamp duty.
What do you say?
Can you imagine
How about that?
Can you imagine if there was no capital gains tax, no stamp duty in Victoria or Australia? I reckon people would change their houses on a regular basis. In fact, there's a joke in New Zealand because there is no stamp duty, no capital gains tax. If somebody doesn't like the paint colour of the third bedroom, they sell the house and buy another one. Why wouldn't you?
but it was a very, very interesting experience, and auctions there very interesting on site and in rooms and in the offices. It was all happening.
Yep, and we've actually picked up a few pointers that we may
have.
well be implementing.
We may
so
well, Phil.
to our Kiwi cousins, thanks for a couple of great days.
As we say, thank you, Brew. Let's go into the, it was choice over there. Let's go into this weekend's auctions, Philip, because we've got some 25 of them. Shall we start to review them?
I think we need to whip through them, Gary.
Okay. Philip, we have 24 auctions over 9 suburbs.
24, Gary, over 9 suburbs. That's huge.
Phil, I'm starting off in Mentone. I love it over there.
And there is downtown Mentone.
There's no property too small, and there's no place too far for us. It's a 1-bedroom unit in Mentone. I'm auctioning at 10:30. This is in Burke Street, Mentone, Philip. 1/22 Burke Street, Mentone. This is a very unique property. It's an affordable one. It is a 1-bedroom apartment with its own courtyard. It's a villa, Philip, with a lock-up garage, and it is a beauty. And Phil, at 10:30, you're going to be in Marriott Street, if I'm not mistaken.
And Gary, I love Marriott Street. Number 37A Marriott Street is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, garage for 2 cars. One of these great solid brick 60s, 70s classics with a whole host of built-in furniture. What a wonderful property. And that goes to auction, obviously, on Saturday at 10:30. I'm doing the honours there, Gary.
Phil, we are at 11:30 back to Don because we know it's good there. And at 11:30,
you know what? We've been saying that joke now. Is Don is good? Is Don is good for about 25 years. I never get sick of saying is Don is good.
So I'm going to come see you there, Phil, because this is a great property. We shot GPTV from Don Court. It's at 11:30. Tell us just a little bit quickly.
Special shout out to the builder there, Olive Constructions, and a special shout out to the architect, Michael Wold, who have done the most beautiful job. This is Benchmark Real Estate, Gary. We shot GPTV from there. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a double lock-up garage for 2 cars. This is a house-size property, Gary, and it goes to auction on Saturday at 11:30.
While you're in Don Court, Philip, just up the road in McKinnon, Jeremy Rosens is auctioning number 1 at number 1 Graham Avenue, McKinnon. This is a fine property. Tell us a little about this. We've sold this once before. I love this place.
Gary, this is pretty stunning. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, double garage, or actually a single garage with a car space in front of it, landscape gardens, polished timber floorboards, cutting edge architecture. It's as schmick as it comes. Love the word schmick.
You're ducking up the road, Phil, at 12:30 to Carnegie Coorigul Road. That's going to be auctioned. Tell us a little about this fine property.
Gary, that is a ripper of a property, single level villa, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a double tandem garage with a courtyard garden, been beautifully renovated, Gary. That's a good property, goes to auction at 12:30 on Saturday.
Back in Hawthorne Road, Caulfield North, Philip, at 12:30 in this wonderful apartment. We've sold in this block before and featured this block prominently on GPTV. Tell us a bit about this apartment. 17153 Hawthorne Road.
I'm in love with that property because it's on the corner of Hawthorne Road and Estale Road. It's a great building, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 basement car space, and that building is brilliantly located. Walking distance to Caulfield Park, and as I've been known to say, walking distance to a Fitzy, where I have the greatest double espresso with some hot milk on the side. I love the coffee there, Gary. Love it.
Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Philip. We're going to be at Ludbrook Avenue
looking
at 12:30.
for a sponsorship for a Fitzy, just by the way, if you happen to be watching this, you know, some free coffees and muffins and things to give away to our viewers. Wouldn't hurt you.
Won't they be throwing that at us? Philip, 63 Ludbrook Avenue goes up at 12:30. I'm going to be doing the auction honours at this terrific period style semi, one of a pair.
Yes, Gary, 2 bedrooms and a study, or almost 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of off-street car parking, rich in period detail there, Gary. And it is a street that we love because we really did launch our real estate career on the back of our first listing in Ludbrook Avenue.
That was one of our first listings, not our absolute
I
first.
know, it wasn't. That was 118A Kooyong Road, Caulfield North, and a special shout out to Linda, who was our very first vendor, entrusting us with the sale of our first auction at 118A Kooyong Road, Caulfield North. Special shout out, and again, after 26 years, we say thanks again, Linda.
And you want to keep this short, and you're babbling about Linda.
You know
306 North Road,
I like
Phil.
to remember the people that were instrumental in launching our real estate career. How quickly you move on and forget.
306 North Road, Brighton, Eastfield. Tell us a little about this.
Well, I would, Gary, but that one has been sold before auction.
Well, it hasn't, Phil, because it's started cooling off, so let's just go back and talk about it. Okay, good call off today. Tell us a little about 306 North Road, Brighton, East Phillip.
Gary, great property, period style, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of car parking. That's a house you can move straight into, Gary, or contemplate a future refurbishment.
There is a ripper in Ripon Grove, Elsternwick, Phil. A good position, a fine home at 1:30 p.m. I have the auction honours. Please tell us a little about this property.
Well, Gary, we love Elsternwick, don't we? And this one's been beautifully renovated, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, off-street car parking for 2 cars. Not a cent to spend there. Just move straight in and enjoy. And just a short walk to the joys and fabulous cafes of Glen Huntly Road, Gary.
It doesn't get much hotter than McKinnon, Phil, especially if you're in the school zone, and Shanahan Crescent is.
McKinnon has gone ballistic.
It's gone off the rails, Phil. You're going to be auctioning this terrific property, Unit 5 at 7 to 9, Shanahan Crescent. Please tell us a little about it.
Do you know what? Interesting. Let's just talk about the McKinnon High School for a moment, Gary.
Yes.
Properties within the zone are selling for significantly more than those that aren't. And I was talking to somebody about this recently, and they were saying they've decided not to send their child to a private school. And if you think about private school fees, $25,000 to $30,000 a year, and $25,000 to $30,000 a year is the mortgage repayment on around a mortgage for $500,000. Okay. So some people are saying, we're not going to send our children to a private school, we're going to send them to McKinnon High School, we're going to leverage up and buy a really good house within the zone, and that's how we're going to get into the best schools and also buy a better house. So interesting strategy. Anyway, that one, Gary, is fantastic because you can move straight into it or contemplate a refurbishment. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, off-street car parking by a garage for 2 cars. That is a really good home.
9 Shanahan Crescent, McKinnon. Phillip, tell us a little bit about this one in Warnack Road, because you're going to be jumping up the road there at 3:30 p.m.
Gary, great development possibilities with this. 666 square metres of land approximately. Alex Campbell's taking that to the market. Great development opportunity there. Subject, of course, to council approval.
We've talked about it already, Phillip. 10 Glencairn Avenue, Brighton East. If you weren't paying attention earlier, be here at 4:30 on Saturday. This is a wonderful home.
This home has got many attributes, but one of the best attributes is that beautiful back garden, Gary, which I've fallen in love with.
Will we bring down the curtain after that? We'll have a coffee somewhere in Brighton after that auction, Phillip.
Because that's a 4:30 auction, so we'll catch up for. I think we should have a beer, Gary, at 5:30. Let's cut loose. You know, because there's 5:30 on a Saturday evening. We could go and lubricate our tonsils at the local Brighton watering hole. Which one is the local Brighton watering hole?
There's so many of them.
What's the one where all of the celebrities
That's
go
like the
to?
Brighton Baths,
Brighton
Bay,
Baths?
Baths Bay.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we'll go and hobnob.
Why don't you bring your Speedos, Gary? If it's a hot day, we'll just strip on down and go for a...
Always keep a pair in my car, Phil, you know that. That brings down the curtain on Saturday, and maybe the show for a lot of people who have just switched off because it got very distasteful. We start off Sunday, Philip, at 31 Armand Street in Caulfield South. What a great looking house this is.
Gary, it is, and Armand Street's a great location. 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, beautifully renovated throughout. Not a cent to spend. That's what we call a housing turnkey solution. Just move your furniture in, Gary, after turning the key in the front door. That's all you've got to do.
Moorabbin's a great suburb, Philip, and I think it's going to have a lot of gain in the years to come. Here is an affordable opportunity for an investor or someone that just wants to get a good house on the market, because I think the range has been between sort of $600,000 and $700,000 or thereabouts. There is a property at 118 Rowans Road, Moorabbin, Phil. I'm going to be auctioning this one at 11 a.m. Want to tell us a little about it?
Well, I do, Gary, but I'm just going to reiterate your tip about Moorabbin being an area to invest in. I think as the price ripples out, Moorabbin is a bit of a invest now suburb. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of car parking in fairly original condition, but excellent condition throughout. There's no question. Buy that to live in or put it in the investment portfolio, because Moorabbin, we're picking it now, Gary, is a go-to suburb.
Phil, there's going to be a hot auction, I reckon, and you're going to be the auctioneer. It's Sunday at 11:30 a.m. It's across the road from Caulfield Park on Balaclava Road, and that is Unit 5 at 249 Balaclava Road. Tell us about this penthouse.
It is the penthouse, one of only 5, Gary. It's the entire top floor with drop-dead gorgeous views out over Caulfield Park. I love this apartment. It's like living in New York, Gary, because you hop into the lift and you press the keypad and the lift doors open straight into your apartment. So you really do feel like you're living in New York, but with that magnificent park view in front of you. Great apartment.
Leo Samuel has the auction honours in College Street. Phillips going up Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Tell us a little about this
College
place.
Street, Elsternwick, Gary, a really good villa home. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, carport for 2 cars, polished timber floorboards throughout. Move straight in, or again, think about what you might add value to that property, because Elsternwick, of course, is a go-to suburb.
Currawina Road, Caulfield South. South. It's one of my favourite streets in the area. It's a Parkside street, Philip, and we're selling a very affordable and beautiful property here. Unit 1 at 4 Currawena Road. Tell us a little about it,
Well,
please.
Gary, Currawa, as we've said, is
Currawena.
I beg your pardon, is a great address. 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, car parking via double garage for 2 cars. That is a great property in a fantastic street and great location.
You are going to have an hell of a time in Ellington Street, Philip. This is a terrific property. Check this one out, viewers, because you're going to love it.
Yeah, Gary, how good is this property? 5A Ellington. That is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, double garage for 2 cars. That is just brilliantly located. Not a cent to spend there. Walk to the tram in Hawthorne Road. Walk across Maple Park to Princess Park, or have a coffee at the new cafe that's part of that new development just there in Hawthorne Road, Gary.
We sell a lot of apartments, Philip, but this one stands out from the rest. This one is in Hotham Street. It's a great location. It is a sparkling, terrific apartment. I'm very much looking forward to the auction of this one, Philip. It's Unit 14 at 142 Hotham Street, St Kilda East. A shout out to the vendors, and I know that they're very excited, and as are we, to be auctioning this terrific apartment. Just tell us a little bit about it, please.
Well, Gary, polished timber floorboards throughout, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 undercover car space, beautifully renovated, gorgeous kitchen and bathroom, and how gleaming are those polished timber floorboards.
They look terrific. Joel Sir has been chomping at the bit, to use a racing term, to be getting that one on the market, Philip.
Oh, chomping at the bit, Gary. The spring carnival's well underway, isn't it?
It is, Phil. It is. I've managed to have my first loss at Caulfield Cup Day.
Well done.
Did a
well
good
done.
job of it
The more
too.
you lose, the longer you work. I like that.
That's true. That's very true, Philip. It gives me plenty of incentive. And it gives me incentive to get good results for our clients, Philip, and I'm going to do that together with Arlene Joffe in Allison Road, my old hood, the old street that I lived in, Phil, 6 at 41 Allison Road in Elsternwick. Tell us about this terrific
Gary,
Parkside
we've
apartment,
sold
Philip.
an apartment there just a couple of months ago, and I love doing the auction there because you had 1 foot on the property and 1 foot in the Harleston Park, which is a favourite park of just about everybody that lives in Elsternwick. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 undercover car space. I reckon I rate that as a screamingly good buy, regardless of how big a price you get for it.
Now, some people forget how great Elsternwick is as a suburb, but I know that I went to Ripponlea Gardens on a Sunday afternoon, snuck off from our last auction, Phil, and went and saw Ross Wilson in concert on the lawns there.
How was
and he
that?
lives, it was just incredible. And
How
he
many people
lives
do
in
you reckon
Elsternwick.
would have been there?
You know what, there weren't enough people that were justified, but I got to tell you,
Well,
when he-
was there hundreds or
Oh, yeah,
thousands?
no, probably,
Or
you know,
hundreds of thousands?
Probably, I reckon there would have been a good 1,000 people all
Really?
up bopping to Eagle Rockville, which
And
he closed
how
off.
was
with-
the acoustics in the garden?
Oh, fantastic. And Ross Wilson, he had his mother there, his
Right.
95-year-old mother. He claims to get all of his good moves
Do
from
you
her.
reckon she had to pay to get in?
I reckon he probably slung her for a fee. But 95-year-old mother, he had his kids, he had his grandkids, and he had his wives there. He said.
Fantastic.
So,
Ross, if
it's
you
good
happen to be listening to the
I love Ross
show,
Wilson.
because Gary is
He's
probably
great.
your number 1
I
fan.
would be right up there.
He's your number 1 groupie. I reckon Gary would cross the road for you, and read into that what you will, viewers. But I would say,
He's a sick person.
I would say that if you are watching, why don't you play our Christmas party one year? Because
He would, he
that would be good.
He's-
I'm thinking, without a payment, of course. But Ross
So
Wilson,
you don't have to pay us anything, Ross. You can just come and play. It's
Ross
fine.
Wilson, we love you,
Yeah.
or at least Gary loves you, and I think you're
Icon
okay.
of Australian rock,
He is,
Phil. So,
he is.
again, if you're going to buy an Elsternwick and in Hotham Street, for example, you've got that whole Ripponlea thing to enjoy,
It's
Phil.
great, isn't it?
And Joe Camilleri and Johnny Diesel, they were all there.
Do you know,
rocking
Gary, I
along.
remember I did an auction across the road from the Ripponlea estate, and I was talking about what a great property the Ripponlea Gardens is, and how you and I, as kids, we used to jump the fence
Well, my
from
mother
your
had the
house
adjoining house, that's
and
right.
go in there after hours. And I said this at the auction, and there was somebody from the Ripponlea estate there, and we got a please explain letter.
Oh, that's right.
The
They
next
weren't
week
happy that
saying,
we do.
this is not the sort of way that you promote a heritage listed property.
That's right.
How dare you?
Yes.
And I thought, I'd like to provoke a little bit of outrage.
I did grow up, Philip, with a family home which bordered Ripponlea. It was over the fence.
Yep.
And I always said, we just missed out by one house.
Yeah,
If I was in
exactly.
that next house,
Exactly.
things would have been a little bit different. But the peacocks used to jump in the back garden, Phil. They did 10 at 225 Orong Road in East St Kilda, Beltane. This is a quality building.
Gary,
Phil.
this is regarded as the last word in luxury real estate in St Kilda East or Caulfield. It is on the border of Caulfield North and St Kilda East. Beltane has long been regarded as the pinnacle of luxury buildings, and we're lucky enough to have a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, fabulous apartment, complete with a gorgeous courtyard garden. We're looking for a great result there because it's a beautiful building.
Philip, at 2:30, we're going to be in Aruna Road, one of Caulfield North's best streets in the Golden Mile.
Well,
this is a wonderful home.
We shot GPTV there a couple of weeks ago, Gary, number 33 Aruna Road. That's on the western side of the street with the most glorious back garden and swimming pool. I look forward to that auction, Gary, because I love that house. I love that street, and looking forward to doing that auction.
Phil, at 3:30 p.m. we're going to Erceldoune Street, which is one of
where
my...
are you going?
To Erceldoune, as they say in Scotland. Yeah, we're going to go have a wee visit down to Erceldoune. Tell us a bit about this number 14, Erceldoune Street in Caulfield North, Phil,
Gary,
at 3:30.
A really good period home, approximately 678 square metres of prime North Caulfield land, with a home that you could let out or move into or refurbish. Although a number of people are looking at doing a development there, subject to council approval, of course. I hate having to say that all the time.
Disclaimers,
this politically correct world we live in.
Phil, at 4:30, you will
I miss
be...
the days where we could just say whatever we liked, Gary.
You could say you could build a shopping centre there, that's right.
right.
You could build 20 shops and 40 apartments on that.
I yearn for the old days, the good old
right.
days. Good old days of misrepresentation.
Stop it.
Saying whatever we wanted to say.
didn't
Not that we
misrepresent.
ever misrepresented
We
anything.
did not misrepresent anything, Phil.
No,
12
we
Oak
didn't.
Crescent in Caulfield North, Phil. You're going to be bringing down the curtain. I dare say you'll be pretty buggered after that auction, Phil, because you're going to do like 14.
You can't say that on GPTV.
That's all right. Well, that's okay. You will be. You'll be buggered. 12 Oak Crescent, Phil, goes at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. Tell us a bit about the opportunity.
I love Oak Crescent, Gary, because it's a kind of semicircle street. In fact, I think it's the only semicircle street in the city of Glenara that I can think of right at this minute. Because it starts in Glenara Road and then goes in a circle round and comes out in Glenara Road.
Yes.
So it's really a charming street near the Caulfield Racecourse.
Not far.
It's a great house, Gary, and I like that street, and it's a great opportunity. It's 585 square metres of prime Caulfield North land, and as we've said before, as the famous American novelist Mark Twain said many years ago, invest in land, they're not making any more of it.
Yes.
Yes, and his Don is good too.
And there's no new material at GPTV if you don't like what you're hearing.
The writers, we do. The show does have a number of writers for the show, and
Brilliant
they are
writers,
working on new material for 2015. You'll be pleased to know, viewers.
What to be. But this is a great opportunity in Oak Crescent, Phil. You can build, you can renovate, you can move
Come on,
in,
Gary,
you can rent
let's
out.
move through it.
Do it
Come on,
like.
quickly.
There's no more auctions to talk about. That's
There's
it.
no more auctions?
We can wrap
Well,
it up quickly.
a big week it was at Gary Pier & Associates, a big weekend that's
Marathon.
just passed, but Melbourne is looking forward to the biggest auction numbers ever in the history of the state of Victoria.
Is that right?
This weekend
This is
in
it.
excess of 1,500
Biggest
auctions.
weekend ever.
Ever. In the history of auctions, not only in Melbourne, but on the entire planet. And if there is another city that wants to challenge this number, go on, give it a shot.
Give it your best shot. Lead with your chin. No, there wouldn't be anywhere in the world that they're doing all that. It's incredible. It's all happening. Spring is here. The volume's here. The results are here. The market feels good. We're going to get a good clearance rate this weekend upcoming, and we'll continue to keep you abreast of what's going on in the real estate world. My name is Gary Peer.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
Bye now.